we offer very, very specialized, very experiential, very specific, very focused type trainings that help everyone that comes across our programs move from zero to hero in a matter of months. We are very big on experiential training. We're very big on making sure that you are able to practice what you say you have learned. And we train in different fields: data analytics, cybersecurity, business analysis, data engineering, and so much more. And you see, the best about our training programs is that we are accredited, all right? We are accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. That's the ACTD, which means that we are able to provide the absolute best for you, and we are vouched for, especially in North America, right? And everywhere else in the world. And our trainers, especially our instructors, are from leading global companies. They're not just people that, oh, the only thing they do is train. No, they actually work in these real environments that we intend to train you to go ahead and work within. All right. And like, when you are working and you are teaching, you are not just going to be teaching the basics. You're going to be teaching in-depth, experience-based type of learning, especially when it comes to how we explain to you and teach you and give you work projects on how to do tasks with the tools that we are teaching you with. Right now, let me introduce myself properly. Like I said earlier, my name is Oluwatobi Okafor. But what I did not mention is that I am an information security analyst with years of expertise, especially in vulnerability assessment, threat detection, pen testing, cloud security, and security incident management. As a cybersecurity specialist at Analytics, I have been opportuned to guide over 100 people without any prior tech background into cybersecurity, and have been, what's the word now? And empowered to work in different notable cybersecurity companies as a pen tester, a threat intelligence analyst, a cyber threat analyst, a cybersecurity analyst, a SOC analyst, and so much more. I'm a member of the ISC2. I have certifications such as the Cisco CCNA, CNSP, CAP, ISO, IEC 27001, amongst other certifications. And I have proven experience in web application security as well as API security. And I have hands-on experience with operating systems and programming languages. And I gained most of those through various projects. And like I said before, I am passionate about continuous learning and personal growth, right? As you can connect with me on LinkedIn. All right. Now that I've explained, or it was called, introduced myself, I would like to talk about what we are going to be doing here today. Now, remember I mentioned earlier that we are going to be talking about why we are here, what we are going to be learning, and doing a little bit of practical to show you exactly how we at Analytics ensure that you get the absolute best when you come into our space to learn, right? First and foremost, today, we are going to be finding network vulnerabilities in a large and medium companies' network environment. And next, we will then have a practical masterclass, a very short masterclass that we would use to show you how the tools that we talk about are actually translated into real life work, right? You cannot say, oh, you've heard about Nmap or you've heard about Nessus or Mascan or different tools in cybersecurity, Bobshot and Co., and you cannot say you can use them practically. It's like telling people that, oh, you know how to write a letter, but you cannot use the alphabet, right? So we're going to be debunking all the myths behind some of the tools that we will be teaching you within the cybersecurity program when you come into our program. We'll also talk about the skill sets you need to thrive within this career path, right? And then we would look at the analytics Growth internship program, which is where you will then go on to practicalize everything you have learned with real world projects, right? The goal at the end of the day is to ensure that you are able to use everything you have learned in the field. You cannot get a job and say, oh, I was just told or taught about Nmap. I was just taught about this tool. I don't know how to use it. I've never tested my hands in the water. And best thing about this entire session is that we have a special discount offer for you. And I believe that you'd want to stay and take advantage of this special discount offer. Right. So, like I like to say, right, a lot of times people say, oh, I was told that for me to thrive in cybersecurity, I need to have Computer Sec Plus. I need to have this. I need to have that. Don't get me wrong. I am not against certifications. As you know, I have some of them, right? But in this current climate, especially with how people go on social media and pretend to be what they're not, the era of certification is over. Like you can see on my screen here, right? Elon Musk is saying, oh yeah, I know that you say you are this, you are that, but I'd like to see your best work. I'm not asking to see your certifications. I'm not asking to know where you work. Just show me your project. Show me what you have worked on. We will then use what you have worked on to decide whether you can work for us. That is the mindset of a large number of companies in this current climate and in this current day and age. I promise you, a large number of companies are not looking at, oh, Joseph has CCNA, Joseph has CAH, Joseph has OSCP, RFCP, all the alphabet behind his name. They are looking at, yes, Joseph says he has all of these things, right? But can Joseph do a technical project that would show that he can work with every single tool that is required in the space he's coming to work in? When you come and learn and train under us, you are able to affirmatively say yes. And why is that? Because we inculcate the learning of the tools and the practicing with the tools, right, into your program. We don't play. The goal at the end of the day is not just to build a cybersecurity professional, it's to build a skilled professional. That's our end goal. All right. So, like I said earlier, nobody really cares about certifications anymore. Yes, they might ask you for it just to justify why they are paying you the big bucks, because they will be paying you the big bucks, right? At the end of the day, the goal is to be able to say, yes, we are paying him or her, we're paying Lucky this big amount of money, we're paying just a big amount of money, we are paying Tom this amount of money because he's skilled in A, B, C, D, and E, and oh, he has gone ahead to get this certification and that certification. And the best part about it in this day and age is that these companies, when you can prove that you have the skills, will pay for certifications. I promise you, it's not a myth. You can ask anybody that you have heard about that works in cybersecurity. Your companies will pay to get you certified, especially when you have the skills to match the certificates, right? So please don't fret so much and say, oh, I was told I needed to get A, B, C, D, and E. Otherwise, I would not be up to par, right? Now, let's talk about why we are here, cybersecurity, right? I believe a number of us know what cybersecurity is. So outside of how I have described it on my slide here, who would like to talk to me about what else they think cybersecurity is? Like I've said here, it's the practice of protecting systems, networks, and data, right, from digital attacks or cyber attacks. So who else would like to tell me in their own words what they know cybersecurity is, or what they have read or what they have heard that cybersecurity is? Who wants to try? I know I have Agat and on this call. I know I have Ahmed on this call. I have Akurede on this call. I have Arafa on this call. I have Justus. I have Kofi. I have Kosi. I have Loki, and so many others. So who would like to tell me from their own point of view what they believe that cybersecurity is? Oh, I'm sorry, Kosi. I am not the one in charge of this. So maybe you could just type your answer in the chat for me. Would that be fair? Or I could ask my coordinator. Hi, Latif. Can you give Kosi the mic? Let him just answer the question real quick. Thank you.
Right, no problem.
Amazing. Thank you, Rashidat. Thank you. That is exactly what it is, preventing unauthorized access. Yes, we're still waiting on Kosi to tell us his own idea of cybersecurity with his own words, right?
I could see you can unmute.
Hi, Kosi, please go ahead. Yes, while we wait for Kosi, Akorede is absolutely correct. Cybersecurity fundamentally revolves around safeguarding data against potential threats. The end goal is to safeguard, is to protect, is to guard against potential threats or at times happening threats, right? You might think it's potential, but it's already happening to somebody else. All right. Kosi, I am waiting on you. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Talk to me, please.
Hello, good
Hi,
evening.
Kosi. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, on my own way, the way I understand it is ability to protect companies' data, the informations that are online. Because these days we are all on internet. Our informations, as long as the network on the system, we are on the internet. So it's like we are prone to attack. So cybersecurity comes in to actually protect those our information, our data, who are very important to us in the organization. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Kosi. That was beautifully explained. That was so, it was your ability to combine everything that Rashida has said, Corey has said, even what I have in my own head, without having even heard me say my own version of it, and being able to make it very, very precise. I love that. Thank you, Kosi. Thank you, Lucky. Yes, Lucky is also telling me that it's protecting and finding solutions to a breed network system. Yeah, that's quite in-depth, but I love it. That's quite in-depth. Well done, Lucky. That was beautifully said. I love the fact that we are all as invested in cybersecurity as I am. And this means that explaining to us how things work is just gotten a little bit easier, and that makes me really happy. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes. So now that we have talked about what cybersecurity is, I'd like us to also look at what we call the pillars of cybersecurity. I believe that the pillars of cybersecurity can be what's it called, compared to the pillars of a structure, right? You're building a building, you're building a house, and you want to create something that has maybe 2 stories or 1 story, something that needs support, right? That needs to be strengthened on every side. That is exactly what the CIA triad does for cybersecurity within an organization. Like I like to say, it is the fundamental or the fundamental part or the foundation of cybersecurity. Without these 3 things, there is no such thing as cybersecurity within any organization, business, or personal space, right? Like we have here, it's the role of cybersecurity is to ensure that there's confidentiality, there's integrity, there's availability within a space of any given data, digital information, or resources, right? And confidentiality, like the name states, basically speaks towards ensuring that whatever data is within that space is confidential. What that means is that it is only those who have access or who are authorized to have access that should be able to access that data. Now that I have said what I know about confidentiality, I'd like us to also tell me what they understand about integrity based off of what I have said about confidentiality. Remember, we're talking about digital space, and we're talking about data and digital information and resources, right? So in this context, when I ask you, okay, what do you believe integrity to be in this context, as well as availability? I'd like a few of us to please give me the answers they believe works for these definitions. So we have said that confidentiality is speaking about only allowing those who have the authority to and the access to get to digital information within a space or environment, right? So in that context, what would you believe integrity is? Who would like to help me here? I'm waiting on us. Who would like to help me here? Thank you. Thank you, Rashida. Thank you so much. I love the fact that you are stating these things in your own words and they are actually the answers. Yes, you're saying data remaining in its true form for over a long period of time, over designated period of time. Yes, that is exactly what integrity is. Let me just refine what you said just a little bit. Instead of saying over a long period of time, you could change it to within the specified amount of time it is required to remain in that form, right? Beautiful, Kosi, beautiful, beautiful. I'm loving these answers. I'm loving these answers. Integrity is that information sent that is not tampered with before it gets to its destination or its owner. Yes, so if you compare what Rashida said to what Kosi said, you realize that they're saying the exact same thing, just in different forms. And at the end of the day, that's the goal, for you to be able to understand what we are explaining to you in terms of cybersecurity, right? So you're saying that I am sending a mail, for instance, to Lucky, and I'm saying, Lucky, I have sent you the financial information for your organization, for our organization rather, and I'd like you to take a look at it and let me know what other facts we can add to our financial report for the year's end. And then by the time it gets to Lucky, maybe somebody along the way has removed a zero or added a zero or added a particular item that we did not use during that fiscal year, right? That's tampering. That's not integrity, right? But when, as it leaves my own device, it's the same way it gets to Lucky's device, and Lucky is able to confirm that, yes, this is what Oluwatobi has sent, and this is what I sent, then we have been able to affirm integrity in respect to that specific data or resource, right? So thank you so much, everyone. I believe that my colleagues are dropping the attendance form in this chat room, and this is to enable us to not just have access to the recording, but to have access to these resources as well. Please do well to fill the attendance form so that you can get access to these things. Now that we have discussed cybersecurity, I'd like us to look at what network vulnerabilities are, right? We said we are here to talk about finding network vulnerabilities, but you cannot find what you don't know you are looking for. Am I correct? So let us talk about network vulnerabilities, right? So network vulnerabilities are weaknesses that we find within a network's infrastructure, the software, or within the policies, right? These are rules or guidelines that help us to run a tight ship, especially security-wise, in an organization. So when you're finding weaknesses in those spaces, you know that obviously attackers will exploit them. Like Kosi said earlier, there is consistent, ever-evolving threats. The attackers are always going back to the drawing board to get better ways to exploit your space, to gain access into your space. So as an organization, you cannot afford to be relaxed or lax in how you approach this protection of your space, right? And we know that once there's a weakness within a space or within an infrastructure or within a software, definitely, based on what we have talked about so far, it can and it might automatically lead to data breaches, service disruptions, and other security incidents, right? And common examples of incidents are actually weak passwords, outdated software, we also have misconfigured firewalls and social engineering. Now let's quickly talk about it. Weak passwords, like we know, name is already in it, right? This is when you have a password I can easily guess. For instance, I'm supposed to work with Kosi, and Kosi says, oh, let me just quickly log into my workstation or my device. And Kosi is logging in, and I'm seeing a username, Kosi Tete, password Kosi1234. How does that make you feel? How will that make you feel as a security person, that your colleague is logging in with a very easy to guess kind of password? You'd wonder, like, are you serious? Are you for real? Are you not scared? Even in our day-to-day life, we notice that a lot of our devices nowadays, right, they come with this what's it called? They come with this ability to use your biometrics, your fingerprints, your different things to enable or your security be up to date, be on par, so that you're not easily hacked or easily breached. Right now, talk more of your environment, your work environment that has a lot of sensitive data, and then you're using a very, very weak password. This is it's so funny because this will allow your attackers or people that are targeting your organization to gain access into your systems via your workstation as a professional, right? Now, let us even leave with passwords, because luckily for us nowadays, we have some of these tools that prompt us to make it stronger. You're filling a password, Google is telling you this is weak, make it stronger, add uppercase letters, add numbers, add symbols. So maybe we might be lucky enough that that doesn't affect us as an organization. Am I correct? Then you now go on and say, okay, I am working with better passwords, but you still have unpatched software, or what we call outdated software, right? And your OS is maybe Windows, you're using Windows 8 or Windows Windows 10, which I believe as of this year is going to stop being maintained, right? And Microsoft has sent you different emails telling you update for free, use this for free. Remember that you're using an enterprise version within your organization, right? And then you're using the old Windows version, or you're using an old version for your Mac. And you and I know that, like Kosi had mentioned, and like Lucky and Rashida have mentioned, that the attackers don't sleep. They are looking for opportunities, avenues to get access to exploit unpatched or outdated software, right? You are opening up your space for these things to happen. Let's now say, okay, you say, okay, I have Windows 10 or I have Windows 8, but I have a firewall, right? But then you don't configure a firewall properly. You download the firewall, you install your firewall, and then you use default settings. Or you don't even create rules in place to make sure that your firewalls are actively working against whatever threats might be going on in the real world, consistently, rather, right? In the world. And you are saying, Shebi, I have nothing. Shebi, I have capacity. Shebi, I have, what's other firewalls? Please, can we name firewalls that we know or that we use currently in our environment? Or you can say, oh, I have Microsoft Defender, even though you didn't turn it on, or you didn't even make sure that it is doing the job it's supposed to be doing. You are leaving yourself open for very weird traffic, unauthorized traffic to pass through. So you actually said, oh, yes, I've worked on my password, I've worked on my software, but then you have a firewall that's not doing its job. It's just there. It's not active. It's not doing what it was built to do. You're leaving yourself open, right? That's another vulnerability that networks are susceptible to. Okay. Then we have social engineering, like I mentioned here. Social engineering is the absolute best and absolute worst. Let me say it this way. You're saying that as a as a professional within a space, oh, I can't fall in a victim to scam. I know what to look out for. I'm absolutely sure that if I see a phishing email, for instance, I would know what it is, and I will not be what's what I'm looking for now. I will not be a victim. I promise you, every single person has said it. Everybody, including the CEO of haveibeenpawned.com. Now, are you hearing the name? Haveibeenpawned.com. It's a platform where organizations, people, individuals can go and check if their emails, if their credentials, anything that has to do with them, especially their sensitive data, has been sold on the dark web or has been displayed for free, whether sold or not, on the dark web at any point in time, so that other people can harvest it and use it for identity theft and whatnot, right? Now, this same person who owns this platform, just so that we can be very security conscious and change our passwords and work better within our organization security posture to make sure that we are stronger, also fell a victim, social engineering. And how was it done? The person used what he knew to get at him. That's how bad it was. And it was so bad that he said he actually posted this notification within about 16 hours of him getting phished, right? But he was also able to like mitigate it quickly because he figured it out immediately, almost immediately, that he was actually scammed. But he also lost access to about 170,000 plus subscriber details or credentials thereabouts, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of information, right? And that's the first thing that the attacker did. They moved his data. They copied and moved his data. They didn't even wait for him to figure out what he was doing or what it could mean for him, right? They knew that he was smart. They knew that he was strict. They knew that he was good at his job, right? They knew that if he was in a space where he was alert, he would not have gotten fished. But they targeted when he was just coming from a conference of over like 3 or 4 days, and he went into another meeting or conference or some such thing, but he was in between. So he was at the airport, he was jet lagged, he was tired, and then he gets a security alert that looks exactly like it came from Google. I promise you, I saw that email and even I would not have thought it was fake, because he had the correct headers, he had the correct indicators that it was good. It was a good email, right? And these are things that we as people think, oh, it can't happen to us. And in the course of just 4 months or less, different security conscious companies have been hit by different types of social engineering attacks, right? So these are the things that we look out for in network environments, so that we are able to be sure that we are not opening ourselves up to different types of social engineering attacks. Because like I said in prior, it doesn't just come to you generally, or what's the word now, generically. They target you based on what they know about you, which is where social engineering comes in. They research about you, they find information about you, and then they try to attack, right? That's why you see that in Nigeria will get a message and say, oh, this SMS is from Tinubu, they are giving you a particular amount of money because you are a retiree, or you're a pensioner, or you are a student in university, we are giving you scholarship for the university. It is targeted attacks, right? We also have different types of attacks, right? But let us just stop here today so that we don't stay so long in talking about these things when you can actually learn about them actively in class sessions. All right. Now that we have talked about network vulnerabilities, let's talk about specializations that you can work within that help you help organizations mitigate these vulnerabilities. Okay. So first on our list, we have network security analysts, which is basically your job to make sure that every single time your network is on and it's connected, which is almost going to be always, you are there to ensure that every traffic that is coming through your firewalls, coming through your CM, coming through any avenue you need, is properly what's called authorized, allowed, and clean, right? That is like a simple version of what you do as a security analyst, right? And like I put here, the pay is upwards of 77,000 per year. And I'm using dollars because my basis is off of the US market, right? But you can translate that to how it will be, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Canada, no matter where you are, it works the same, right? The pay is great, because the job you are going to be doing has to do with security and ensuring that everybody is safe within the organization's environment, right? The next role that also pertains to what we've discussed so far is the IT auditor. Remember, I mentioned something about policies, as is guidelines, rules that allow us as an organization to ensure that our space is safe and we are doing what needs to be done, right? Your job, your role in this particular job is going to be to ensure that the policies match the business objectives and the needs of the organization, right? Next, we have cyber defense analyst, where you'll be working as basically a security person, let me use the African term, a security man, where your job is to make sure that any such event or incident that can potentially harm your organization's network environment is mitigated before it becomes a problem. And next up, we have the role of a junior pen tester, where you are going to be actively and consistently at times on a schedule, testing the environment for potential loopholes, for potential weaknesses, potential vulnerabilities, trying to exploit them as an attacker will, and ensuring that they are blocked or filled so that an attacker doesn't actually take advantage of these weaknesses or these loopholes. Next, we have the cybersecurity architect. Your job in this role, or your role in this job, apologies please, is to design a space that works perfectly, right? An environment or infrastructure that works perfectly for the organization you work within. So say, for instance, you are Joseph, that is going from being a care support worker or a support worker in NHS into being a cybersecurity architect in NHS. It means that for Joseph, what he's going to be doing is that he's going to be designing systems and infrastructure that would ensure that every single patient data is kept in a way that not everybody that needs that can't see it should be able to see it, right? Say, for instance, you have people in HR within the hospital environment, you have people in the actual medical space of the environment, you have people in the admin, you have people in, say, billing, for instance, right? So people in billing don't have to see the medical conditions of the patient. They just have to know, okay, this is what doctor prescribed, this is what doctor treated this patient for. They don't need proper, like, in-depth details, right? So just job will be to build an environment or an infrastructure, or quote unquote a building, where this information will be separated and only on a need-to-know basis for those who actually need to know, right? And next up, we have the security compliance analyst role, which is basically you as a cybersecurity analyst ensuring that your organization that you're working with is complying with the rules and regulations of the industry within which they operate, especially when it has to do with their environment. So if your environment requires that you have demarcations, or what we call network segmentation within cybersecurity, you as a compliance analyst would ensure that the organization is doing that, right? That they're complying. That's why your role is security compliance analyst, all right? And then next, we have the role of a network security engineer. Now, this role is similar to a cybersecurity architect. The difference is that the cybersecurity architect is building, right? The network security engineer is implementing and using the designs from the architect to make sure that everything that the architect has designed is implemented properly and works as it should, right? So a lot of times, the cybersecurity architect and the network security engineer work hand in glove, right? They work together, or at times the roles and responsibilities can actually be intertwined, right? You get employed as a network security engineer, you end up realizing that you are doing the job of a security architect as well. But the beauty of this role is that it does not take anything away from you. Rather, it adds to who you are. Like I said, the minimum that they get paid in this role is usually upwards of 90,000 per year. And then last but not least, the kind of roles that work in this space is also, like I said, security engineer. Now, in this case, instead of just being another security engineer, you are a security engineer for the entire space. So both the network infrastructure, the resources, the applications, whether it's a web application or the mobile application that the organization is using, your role is to design, implement, and work with the infrastructure that you are building for the business objectives and the business goals, right? These are beautiful jobs that you can do as a new person, as an entry-level person in cybersecurity, right? Next up, let's talk about the skills that you need to thrive in cybersecurity. Now, before I go further, I remember earlier that some of us mentioned that we work in different areas. Now, I'd like us to look at these skills and tell me if you currently have these skill sets where you currently work. Because I like to put that every skill you currently have is very, very transferable. No skill is lost, no knowledge is lost, nothing is throwable away, quote and unquote. The reason why I say this is because you will think, oh, I currently work in business. Let's use Lucky, for instance. I currently work in business. You need accountability to be a proper business person. You need adaptability. You need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to see a problem, find a solution, and keep it moving, right? You need creative problem-solving skills. Lucky, if I'm wrong, please debunk me as I'm speaking, all right? You need to be able to think on your feet. You need to be persistent. You need to be, as the word they use, I think it's called, you need to be that dog with a bone, right? For you to thrive in business. Now, best believe that you need a lot of this skill as well in cybersecurity. I like to say that the first skill you need in cybersecurity is persistence. You can't afford to hit a snag or a roadblock and say, oh, I'm tired, I'm turning back. You can't afford it in cybersecurity. You have to keep going. I tell a lot of my people, I say, when you hit a road snag or you hit a roadblock, just take a nap, eat, take a nap, come back to it. I promise you, what you were having difficulty with, you will get clarity with it because you have been able to step away from the problem for a little bit, but you don't run away from the problem. That's why you are persistent, right? Next up, you need critical thinking. I believe that there is no job you currently work in where you do not use critical thinking. That's the same thing that goes for cybersecurity. Now, the beauty of cybersecurity is that it is the ability cybersecurity has to take everything you already have, already know, already do, and pull it into what you want to be is a beauty to behold, because it means that you don't have to start developing a large number of soft skills from scratch, right? You don't have to start developing the ability to think in depth from scratch. Like we say, critical thinking can also be called analytical thinking. But I remember that you are going to be called a cybersecurity analyst, right? That's the beauty of cybersecurity. Like I said earlier, creative problem solving is not avoidable. You also have adaptability and flexibility, which means that you need to be able to bend with the tides. And I believe that if you are in care, if you are in marketing, you are in business, anything you currently do, you need to be flexible, especially in today's climate and economy. And then the beauty of cybersecurity, you need stress management skills. You cannot afford to be consistently and overtly stressed, because I personally believe that when you are constantly and overtly stressed, you are not able to think clearly. And when you cannot think clearly, you're not able to find solutions to problems easily, like you typically would, right? So that's why we say stress management is a skill that you cannot avoid in cybersecurity. Next on our list is continuous learning. Now, the reason why we say continuous learning is paramount is because first and foremost, in cybersecurity, you don't just learn today and stop. No. You keep going back to the drawing board, you keep adding more knowledge, you keep learning more things, you keep building your skills, you keep niching down or specializing further. It's like medicine, where you start off as a general medical doctor, I think it's called, yeah? Please, if I'm wrong, Joseph, please correct me. I believe you work in health, right? So please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. And after a while, you go back and say, oh, I want to be a registrar, I think. And then you become a resident, you become a registrar, you become a consultant. So it continues, right? That's the same thing in cybersecurity. You do not want to be static. You don't want to remain on one spot, especially because you are dealing with evolving threats, right? Another skill as cybersecurity professional you're going to be having is accuracy and attention to details. The reason why you cannot play with accuracy and attention to details is because you are working with a matter of digital life and death, similar to a doctor, where if you make any mistakes, your patient dies. As a cybersecurity analyst, if you make any mistake, your organization loses. Your customers, your clients lose. The attacker wins. The hacker wins. So if you're not hit with a ransomware, you're hit with data exfiltration, that is data being moved out, like the case of the Having Pond CEO that I mentioned, right? And if you realize it is a ripple effect, right? If data is stolen from a database, what that means is that data is then sold to identity theft people, who then use your data to buy things on credit, to create to open new credit scores or credit accounts, and to buy and put the eventual customer in debt. Things that you didn't buy, things that you did not spend, you end up having to pay for it, especially when you cannot prove that your identity was stolen, because you don't even know it was stolen, right? That's why, as cybersecurity analysts, our job entails us having accuracy and attention to details. That's why I was saying earlier that I always advocate stepping away, taking a little bit of rest, and then coming back to continue, because it doesn't end, right? It's a beautiful kind of career where there's always something to do. You are always relevant, right? You can never not be relevant. And another skill you need to is staying updated and engaged. What I mean is you need to be on top of the news. As it's happening, you are sure you're getting alerts on your device. You're getting notified. You're getting emails that tell you, oh, we found out there's a new vulnerability in town now. Then you, as this network security engineer, you go back quickly to your environment. You check, am I secure against this particular vulnerability that just came up now? If I'm not, how can I fix it that I am secure and my organization is also secure, right? And last but not least, okay, no, it's not, but let me just say this. One of the most important ones as far as cybersecurity is concerned is technical documentation and reporting. You can only tell me what you have found, right? If you cannot show me in documentation and your reports, then it's as good as you not finding anything, right? It's as good as you saying, oh, I found A, B, C, D, and E, but I cannot prove it, right? When you cannot prove what you say you found, then there is nobody else is able to say, okay, yes, Kosi found that we have outdated software. Somebody will ask, okay, Kosi, where's the proof? Can you show me how you got to this point? Can you show me what we call proof of concepts or steps to reproduce of how you were able to find this vulnerability and why you think it's a problem for us as an organization, right? That's where technical documentation and reporting comes in. And last but not least, you need to be able to collaborate and communicate. Now, I believe that in your current jobs, you already collaborate with people, but I also believe that you can build those skills better. This is where we come in the analytics, right? We teach you how to collaborate by pairing you up with your peers and ensuring that every single person pulls their weight. We also teach you how to communicate properly. You're talking to your facilitator, you're saying, oh, hi, Miss or Sir or Mr. I have worked on tasks you have given me, but I am stuck at this point, and these are the things I have done to get to this point. How can you help me go further past this point? Right? That's communication. Being able to tell your teammates, then tell your managers, your stakeholders, your CEO, these are the resources I need to ensure I'm able to provide the absolute best when it comes to security within our organization, and then being able to listen to you because, like I said earlier, you have properly documented it, right? So in all of this, you need to start off with a very strong skill to learn. You need to come ready and prepared to position yourself and say, I'm here to gain knowledge. I am going to gain this knowledge, right? And next up, you are coming with the aim of understanding the fundamentals. Remember I mentioned earlier about fundamentals, right? There is no building that can stand without proper foundation. And that's the same thing for this career. The fundamentals are very important. Another thing you want to do, like I said, is make sure that as the landscape of cybersecurity is evolving, you are also evolving with it. And then you also build a professional network within the cybersecurity community and gain hands-on experience with internships, volunteering, and personal projects, all of which we provide at Analytics. We don't play when it comes to this because we believe that you can only go so far with the alone. You need the help of everyone around you to go as far as you need, as fast as possible, right? Now let's get into it. Let's learn a little about the tools that we have talked so much about the areas we've talked so much about. We've talked about the fact that we're looking for network vulnerabilities. Am I correct? Now let's look at this scenario. All right, we have SMT Enterprises, which is a medium and small scale enterprise. Basically, what this means is that it is not a small mom and pop organization, it's a large organization, but it's not, maybe it has about above 500 staff, but less than 1,000 staff. In some countries, it's called a large company. In some countries, it's called a medium company. So we're going to be sticking with the fact that it's in between, depending on which country you are in, right? Now, the situation is such that they have built an e-commerce website, right? But they do not have a security team, right? So that means that they've built something that they don't know whether it is secure or not, and they don't know what kind of impact it would have on their environment. Now, our job as cybersecurity analysts is to come in and help them first and foremost analyze and assess their environment with tools like Nmap and Mascan. The goal of this is to help them identify whatever risks might be potentially lurking within their environment. All right? So let's look at our tech stack. This means our tech tools, right? So we have Nmap, we have the vulnerable VM that we're going to be using to simulate SMT enterprises. We also have Mascan, then we have Kali Linux. Now, let's talk about Nmap as a tool. Now, Nmap is what we call the network mapper. Now, it is called the most famous scanner in the world. Why? First of all, it's simple, it's lightweight, it's fun to work with, and it can work in any environment. So you can literally run Nmap within a Windows environment, within a Kali environment, my apologies, please, as well as running this within a Mac environment. So Nmap is not like limiting in where you can work with it. That's the beauty of Nmap, first and foremost. Secondly, it is free. Now, when you say a tool is open source, that means that it is consistently and constantly being worked on, developed, and what's called updated by numerous developers because it is open source. That means that everybody has access to the source code and they're able to tweak it to do better, to do more, and to go further. All right. So that means that this is a tool that is used for network discovery, network mapping, and security auditing. Right. Now, what are the things that Nmap can do? It can help you identify open ports. It can help you identify what kind of services are running in your target environment. And it can help you look at the potential vulnerabilities in the systems that you are trying to scan using its Nmap script engine tool. All right. Now, the beauty of Nmap is that it's beginner friendly, it's fun to use, it's easy to understand, and it gives you results that you can actually read through without any knowledge of programming languages, right? That's the beauty of Nmap. Let's look at MassScan. Now, MassScan is similar to Nmap because like Nmap, it's a scanning tool, but MassScan, whilst being an open source tool, is designed for very, very high speed network scanning. Its primary purpose is to scan the entire internet quickly and efficiently. And if you don't believe me, you can actually Google it. I promise you that this particular tool can scan the entire IPv4 environment, that is the www as we know it, in 6 minutes, right? It goes as fast as 25 million packets per second. And on a normal day, when you run the Wireshark tool to scan a network traffic and capture packets, we realize that we get as high as or as low a minimum of like 300,000 packets in 3 minutes. So this is telling you that, oh, as long as your network is good, your ISP is giving you fast speed or fast internet, you're using Starlink or any of these very fast internet providers, right? I can scan the entire internet for you in 6 minutes. So your internet speed determines how fast I go, but just give me 6 minutes with a very strong connection, I'm done, right? And the beauty of it is that it's very great to work with, and the only downside to it is that you have to pair it with Nmap so that you get as much results as you want from that space. Now, why are we doing this project? First and foremost, we're doing this project because we know that a lot of companies, a lot of businesses, a lot of organizations actually overlook the fact that they need to consistently check for critical security within their critical infrastructure and their critical environment. And another thing is that Nmap is a very easy to use tool, right? And it shows you problems quickly, right? MassScan is also a very fast port scanner. Like I said, 25 million per second data transmitting speed, which is a lot. Believe me, I have tested it, so I know it's fast, right? And another reason why we are using this case study is so that we can help you understand how vulnerabilities are discovered and why they are the first step in fixing the problem in the environment, right? And our goal for this project is to teach us here how to use the proper tools to identify common vulnerabilities and how to empower you in this journey of cybersecurity that you have embarked on by being here, right? Now let's look at how we run a typical or a basic Nmap scan. Like I said earlier, our purpose is to identify open ports and services, and we use simple syntaxes like Nmap and the target IP with the outputs that we desire, which is to look at open ports and running services. Same thing goes for the mass scan, and this allows us to see so many as well as save the result in the version that we prefer. Now, I'd like us to quickly go to our virtual environment, which is what's it called? The Kali environment, so that we can see what I am saying looks like. Okay, let me quickly share my entire screen so that we don't stay too long. Here, hold on, please. Okay. Oh, right. Please, when you can see my entire screen, please let me know. Oh. Okay. I'm trying to move, but I can't, I'm not able to. Please just give me a minute. Let me reshare my entire screen so that we can all see what I am trying to show us real quick. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we are within my Kali environment. Please, when you can see my Kali, just notify me. I'm not getting responses anymore. Can we all see my Kali, please? My Kali Linux. Can we all see my Kali Linux, please? I want to be sure that we are okay.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Lucky. Thank you, Latif. I wanted to be sure we are still together. It was radio silence. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Before we quickly go further, let me quickly show us what our virtual box typically look like. It's a container, yes? So what a container for virtualization is where we keep all our virtual devices or our virtual machines. So we have different types, yes? Depending on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve, the goal at the end of the day is to have a space within which you can work that does not affect the external environment or your personal device, and you also are also able to get authorization. Remember that everything you do with cybersecurity, the first rule of the game is authorization. All right. Now, like I was saying earlier, we perform what we call a basic Nmap scan. Now, what I like to do before we use any tool is to show us why the tool exists, how it works, and we can do that within the Kali environment by checking the manual. It's like buying a device or buying a tool and not reading the manual. How would you know what it can do? Right? Give me a minute. Let me zoom out my screen so that we are all able to see properly. Amazing. Now, the first thing you want to do is check out Nmap. Remember I told you earlier that Nmap is called the network mapper. I wasn't playing because it is literally the name. All right. Now, like I said earlier, it's an open source tool. The job is to make sure that you're able to find information about whatever you're targeting as detailed as possible. Then you now carry that information and go and do further research. Remember, I mentioned that one of the skills you need to have as cybersecurity analyst is the ability to pay attention to details, right? To be able to solve problems creatively, to be able to find information, to do critical thinking, right? So when Nmap gives you answers, for instance, look at this example, right? And it's telling you, okay, it scanned a target, it scanned this target, right? Scan me its own website at this particular IP address, which is like the internet's way of telling you exactly where this particular website is located, right? It tells you that, oh, it took about less than 1 second to scan, right? It took about less than 1 second to scan, and within that time, it was able to find the DNS record that says, okay, this is like the domain name record, right? It was able to tell you that within the space of the scan that it performed, it found about 1,000 ports, which is the default ports that he scans for, even though every network environment has about 65,000 plus ports. Not every port is going to be available. Not every port is going to be open. When you come into our program, I would explain to you what ports are and why they are important. You will learn what it means when I'm talking about DNS, when I'm talking about the time that the host is up. Everything I'm mentioning here are things that we teach within the program in depth. All right. Now, I'm just talking about the fact that the result in this example shows the state of the port that was found, the service the port running on, and the version it is running within. Now, all of this is supposed to help to be able to say, okay, I have found a specific open entrance into your environment, right, in my scan, and where on that entrance is SSH, like this, for instance, right? And the version of that software is this version. Now, my job as a cybersecurity analyst would be to now go back online and check if this version is up to date or if it's outdated. If it's up to date, we're good to go. If it's outdated, my job as cybersecurity analyst is to make sure that I update it so that you don't use the outdated version anymore and leave yourself open to attacks, right? Now, looking at all of this, you realize that there's so many examples that you can use within the Nmap to get as much information as possible. Nmap allows for target specification, it allows for host discovery, because at times you are scanning a target or a system that will tell you, I've blocked you from being able to see me, and tell you, oh, the host is down. So Nmap has scan syntaxes that allow you to see every target as online. So it doesn't really look at whether or not the target wants to appear as offline because maybe a firewall is existing or not. It will bypass that and just properly scan that environment to find information it needs to give you to help you to do your job. All right. There's also scan techniques within Nmap. So I use scanning for TCP, which is the internet connection. I use scanning for PIN. I use scanning for specific things. Are you looking for the IP protocol? Are you looking for whether you're able to do file transfer, which is FTP, right? Then it also allows you to scan specific openings or ports, right? And scan it in a specific order. It also allows you to detect versions and the service running on your target, and it allows you to impute scripts that tell you what is going on within that space. So you're asking, does it have vulnerabilities? There's a script for that. We call that the script equals vun, which is going to tell the Nmap tool that targets that environment, that help me look within the environment if there's any vulnerabilities there. And you can streamline it such that you do it in a way that it's able to tell you what types of vulnerabilities exist and what versions these vulnerabilities are, and how are they, why are they considered vulnerabilities? Okay. It also allows you to see what type of operating system, that is OS, is running in that space. Okay. You have OS section that you are able to see what's running in that space. You're able to say, okay, I have done this and that. I have done this and that, and I'm able to know that, okay, this is the OS that these people are running with. Okay. And there's so much more. There's timing, there's firewall evasion, there's IDS evasion with Nmap. There's even a way for you to tell it, okay, I want you to give me this report in a specific format. I want it to be normal, right? I want it to be extensible machine language, markup language. I want it to be script kiddie version. I want it to be graphical that only a machine or a computer can read the output. I want you to give me all of this output at once. I want you to be verbose. Do you know that there's so many things you can ask Nmap to do? That's why it's called a simple but powerful tool, because as simple and light as it is, it can do a lot, and it's a beautiful tool to work with. Everybody has made me know that I love working with Nmap, right? Now, because of time, I would have loved to actually like do a scan one by one and not do it and keep for us to see, but I ran a scan quickly before we started this session, just so that we're able to walk through the report. Okay, now looking at the manual that I showed us earlier, you notice that the command is simple. You put the command for the tool, that is the name of the tool, Nmap, and here I'm telling it, run as many scans as possible, get me the ports, get me the state of the port, get me the service, and get me the version running on that port. And I also said, please scan every single port. Now, if you look here, it's telling us that it found that out of about 65,000 plus ports that are on that environment, it found 65,532 closed, which means that there were about 3 open and most likely having vulnerabilities on them. All right. I also asked it in my scan to also look for the OS that is running on the target environment. And if you look through my report, you realize that after giving me the service and the version and even the keys to access the space, it went ahead to tell me that there's some problems in these other ports, right? I'm able to, what's what I'm looking for now? Exploit if I go further. And it also tells me exactly what type of OS is running on my target. And then it goes another step further and says, if you notice that your report is incorrect, please report at so and so. That's the beauty of Nmap. Nmap is so fun to use, so straightforward, so amazing to work with. And it is not just because I love Nmap, it's because of how versatile Nmap is. Some people call it the Swiss knife of cybersecurity. What that means is that it can do anything. All right, it can do and undo. Now let's look at mass scan that we mentioned earlier. All right, now mass scan is another fun tool. Okay, this particular tab is me pinging my target to be sure that it is up, alive, and connected. I'm able to connect to it, right? So this is how we do that in cybersecurity. We ping. In networking, we ping the other address. We're asking, are you available? Can you receive information? Can you send the information? And it replies me by saying, yes, I'm able to receive, and I'm able to send information, and there is 0 packet loss within the time which you sent this hello or these messages. All right. Now let us quickly look at, yes, mass scan targeting the same, what's it called? The same environment, right? If you notice, I have 2 scans here. One is still going on. The other has already finished. Now, this first scan is telling us that, yes, Oluwatobi has scanned the target. And in this case, she was specific about where she wanted to scan. And she asked me to go at the rate of 100,000 packets per second. Now, remember that it can go as fast as 25 million packets. But I said, no, go at 100,000 packets per second. And in that space of time, it was able to give me a scan that scanned 256 hosts. Now, the reason we say this is you have 256 potential addresses within every given network environment, right? And in that environment, you have 254 usable IP hosts or usable hosts or IP addresses rather. And on each host, you have about 4 ports, 4 openings per host or IP address that is easy to scan. All right. Now, the beauty of all of this is to tell you that this is a combination of both networking, and network security. So it's telling you, I'm scanning a typical environment. I'm scanning every possible opening, but I am specifically looking for port 80, which is for HTTP, which is a protocol that we use for the internet, port 22, which is SSH, which is the secure shell through which we use to connect to environments. We have port 443, which is the port we use to connect securely to HTTP, and port 21, which is the port we use for file transfers. Basically, all the important ports for what we are worried about within this organization's environment. All right. And it says, oh, yeah, I discovered that all of these ports that you have asked me about are actually open. Now, remember that my Nmap scan that I did was asking it to check for this port and the services. And it said the same thing, that, yes, you have this port open, but at this address, this is the router's address, you have this port open, but at this target address, you have this port open at the target address, you have this port open at the router address. What that means is that on the router, you are able to communicate with the internet. On the device you are trying to scan for, you are also able to communicate on the internet. But for the router, you are allowed secure connection or secure communication, which is HTTPS. But on the target, there's no secure communication. It is just the insecure version to communicate with, which is the HTTP on port 80. Everything I'm saying right now might sound very, very technical, but I promise you, when you come into the program, we will learn about all of this in depth and understand what they mean. Okay, like I told you earlier, fundamentals, right? We're looking at the fundamentals and what have you. Now, if you look at the second scan, this is a more in-depth scan. And because I made it slower than it typically would be, the time it's going to take is looking longer. And now it's scanning every single device within the environment that the target is in. What that means is that if I have a television connected to that particular router, it is scanning the television as well. If I have a printer, it's scanning the printer as well. If I have another phone or another device or any such thing on that router, it is scanning all of these devices one after the other. Do you understand? Now, this is just a mass scan and Nmap. Now, we have so many other tools that we use for scanning environments to find information that allows us to ensure that we are giving the absolute best to our organization, right? And the beauty of this is that these scans help us to tell a story. They help us to tell the organization that we have found these problems and we need you to understand that they need to be fixed. We cannot just afford to leave them and let them be, because they might become a problem for us in the future. In fact, they will become a problem for us in the future. All right. Now that we have looked at the different tools that we have, I'm talking Nmap, Masscan, Nessus, Nikto, Searchsploit. There's so many tools and so many ways to use these tools that we will be talking about and learning about within the course when you come into the program, that would enable you to be exceptional at your job. Let's look at how we remediate for our said organization, right? We said that we have open ports, but we have about 65,000 plus ports so that we have closed. So why are we leaving these other ports open? Okay, if we don't want to close them entirely, then we can use firewalls to block these services and these ports if we're not using them. Okay, and another thing that we also tell the organization to do is to update the software. Remember that we found a number of versions on our target or our system infrastructure, right? The goal is to make sure that every single software in that space is using the proper version, right? So when we found the FTP, which is port 21, we found SSH, which is port 22. So the goal is to make sure that we eliminate every possible known vulnerabilities by patching the versions that are there to make sure that they're the current and most recent versions. And last but not least, amongst what we can ask the organization to do is to enforce strong password policies. Now, the goal of these password policies is to make sure that there's no way a brute force attack is successful against the organization. Because if I'm not using Kosi 1234, or I'm not using Oluwatobi is a girl, or I'm not using Oluwatobi 25, for instance, there's no way an attacker can use simple or easy to figure out passwords to get access into my workstation and thereby jeopardizing the entire environment. Now, this is what a sample report would really look like. Remember I mentioned earlier about technical writing, technical documentation, and whatnot, right? Now, you have to document. You are telling the team, you're telling the stakeholders, you're telling your CEO, you're telling your head of IT, your head of finance, that you need money to remediate or to fix some of the issues that you have found. You have to show them what you found, why it is relevant to the organization, and how it would impact the organization if not fixed. That's why reports come in, right? We encourage you to write reports, to give you samples of what reports should look like, and we help you to understand what you should put in that report and what your end goal should be for that report. Remember that in this case, and in cybersecurity, report writing and presentation are close, but they're not the exact same thing. All right, so please bear that in mind. We're going to be teaching you the difference between these two when you come into the program. Now, what are we taking away from this particular project we've quickly walked through, right? Why are we using any scanning tools, right? We're using the scanning tools because, yes, they are simple, but they are powerful, right? And the beauty of these scanning tools is that every single person, especially newbies that you are and beginners, are able to use this to find solutions to uncover problems within the organization. Now, the goal of this is to make sure that you see that gaining essential skills is attainable for any and everyone in cybersecurity. All right? Good. Now, let us look at what job outlook looks like in 2025, right? We have found that there has been a lot of cybercrime in just the 4 months that this year has has had, and the level of monetary damage that these crimes have caused, according to reports that we have come across, especially the United States Internet Crime Complaints Center report, says that we have seen an increase of over 15% year on year, right? So going from like $3 trillion to about 10.5 trillion US dollars in 2025. That's a lot of money getting lost within different organizations and different industries, right? Another thing we are also going to notice is that as of 2023, we found that rather, there was about 1 million plus jobs available, but less than 400,000 people were trained to take up these roles, right? But as of this 2025, we realize that it has now increased, especially with the advent of AI and whatnot, it has now increased to 3.5 million job openings. And I promise you, we have not even hit half of the available experts that are able to take up these job openings. I promise you, every single day, jobs are posted for security roles. LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, even on normal Twitter, on Facebook, you see this role being posted consistently. It's not because these organizations are saying, oh, let's just create this role for fancy. No, you and I know that these things are necessary. They don't have a choice. It's not like they want to do it, but they have to do it because they are now open to hackers, attackers, malicious actors, targeting them consistently. You would think, oh, I'm in the food industry. Why should I worry so much? I promise you, Target thought the same thing. But attackers targeted them through their hair conditioning units, gain access to their point of sales within their food court, and use that to steal their clients' credentials. That's how bad it is. You will think, oh, I currently work in construction, or I'm in constructions. Why do they need cybersecurity construction? I promise you, attackers don't care where they target. As long as they are gaining something from it, they will target it. Whether it is a financial gain, whether it is a political gain, whether it is to prove a point, they will target it, right? Because that's the way they believe that they can get what they need to get, right? They can get what they need to get you to bend to their will. Now, our job is to train you properly in a way that when you get into these roles, you are able to dissuade attackers, are able to block them. Now, I've talked so much about new roles and everything, but I know I talked about network this, network that, but there's so much more that you can do in cybersecurity. There's a lot of things that are available for you in cybersecurity that also make use of these skills that I have mentioned so far. First on the list, we have the GRC analyst role, which is where you, as a GRC analyst, you are ensuring that your business goals, your business objectives are properly aligned with the compliance rules, the regulatory rules of the industry. Like I said earlier, that your organization is operating within. You are helping manage risk. You are helping them to meet their regulatory requirements. You are helping them to protect themselves against threats and make sure that whatever procedures that are put in place in the organization is working towards the end goal of making sure that as a company, you are as protected as you can possibly be, right? Another role that's available for you is the threat intelligence analyst. Now, in this role, your job is to ensure that you are constantly up to date, you are studying for new threats, you are developing new technology, you are helping them improve the defenses to help stay ahead of cyber criminals. Like Kosi said, as you are developing new defenses, cyber criminals are developing new ways to exploit these new defenses, right? And then we have what we call the user access manager. This is someone that basically stands between who can access what and how long they can access these things within your organization, right? You're controlling access to systems, you're controlling access to data, you are limiting the time that is spent within those spaces to ensure that there's lessly or confidentiality being broken, right? And you're creating policies and enforcing policies that dissuade unauthorized access, especially unauthorized traffic within your network environment. Another role in this space is called the DevSecOps engineer. Okay, this is a skilled professional that would help the developers as they are developing. Bear in mind that you can build an e-commerce website that is properly secured as it's being built, right? Now, that's what SMT enterprises did not do. But as a data engineer, you can then help your organization make sure that as they were building that e-commerce website, they have put everything in place so that it is not susceptible to attackers. It is not oh, we finished building, no, can you secure it? No, it is, oh, as I wrote a ton of code, I made sure that there was security taken into consideration whilst I was building this particular website, right? Another thing that you can also work as, or another role that you can work as within cybersecurity is what we call the network administrator. Here you are basically responsible for ensuring that the network is secure, is functional, and there is smooth operation. In cybersecurity terms, the availability is ensured, right? And you are also the one that also helps to find potential problems and solve them as they occur or before they occur, depending on how quickly you are able to work. But like I said earlier, there's so many things you can do cybersecurity. All right. Now that I've talked about cybersecurity, network security, and what you can do, let's talk about how you get started in cybersecurity. All right. Now we have come in here to learn about finding vulnerabilities, have found the vulnerabilities, right? But we don't have an in-depth understanding, a thorough understanding of how to get from where we currently are to where we want to be. Now, I believe that by being here, you already have an idea of what career path you want to do. You understand what you want to do, right? Now, you have gotten an idea of, okay, I want to be a cybersecurity professional, right? But there are 3 things that you need to do today that will help you go from aspiring to an actual professional, right? The first thing you want to do is to learn, okay? And here at Analytics, we help you do what we call focused learning, okay? We are upskilling you, but we are helping you to focus properly by giving you both self-paced version of learning as well as the in-class or live class version of learning. This way, you are using both avenues to make sure that all of the information that you need to thrive on the job, you are getting it. Now, after we have taught you properly and upskilled you properly, we then help you with packaging yourself properly for the job market. Here in the analysis, we call it employability. Okay. Now, what that involves is that we have CV revamps and reviews. We don't play with your CVs because how do you tell the world that you have these skills if you don't have proof with your write-up? Remember, I talked about technical documentation and reports. Now, your CV is a report of who you are and what skills you have gained, right? Now, after we have revamped and reviewed your CV, we then help you to teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn. Okay. Now your LinkedIn is like your Instagram bot for your career, right? Now, in helping you to understand and learn how to optimize your LinkedIn, what this does is it puts you at the forefront in the minds of recruiters and say, I actually just recently reviewed Kosi's LinkedIn. I was searching for cybersecurity professional and Kosi's LinkedIn popped up. Oh, this is so nice. The person says they have learned this, they have learned that, they have worked with this, they have worked with that, they have worked on this particular project that involves them using this CM tool or this firewall or this IDS or IPS to achieve this goal. Wow, they will definitely be a good fit for the organization I am recruiting for, right? We then have mentorship sessions. This is where we come together and we teach you soft skills as well as on the job or in-demand skills that help you to, after getting the job, also stay in that job, right? Then we have what we call interview preparation. We don't just teach you how to fish and then we give you the rods. No, we go further and help you to what's the word now? To put your worm or to put your bait on your fishing rod. Okay, we prep you for the interviews. Now, bear in mind that we have what we call job collations, where we give you, we show you the jobs that are open within that space, within cybersecurity for that particular month. And then when you apply to these jobs, we then prepare you properly for the interview sessions that you're going to have with that job or with the job, what's it called, stakeholders. And then we provide reference for you. And to top it all up, we provide on-the-job support. So it's not like we just help you to, what's the word, prepare for the interview and then you get the job and they will say bye-bye. No. When you are working on the job and you come back and you say, oh, hi, Oluwatobi, hi, Latif, hi, Muideen, or hi, Abdul Rashid. As talking about all of my teammates, for instance, you come and say, oh, I've gotten the job, I'm on the job, I need to upskill in a particular area, or I need to do a particular thing. We provide on-the-job support for you to help you continue to be the absolute best within that job. And then we, like I said earlier, we ensure that you use the CV that we have given you to aggressively apply. How do we do that? Like I said earlier, we provide current listings of job openings within our space. We don't play, we don't leave anything to chance, okay? Because at the end of the day, the goal is for you to get a job, right? The goal is for you to get a job. Now, we don't just assume that some jobs are in demand or some jobs are available or whatnot. No, we actually use a lot of research, a lot of information to, and as well as looking at a lot of reports to tell you the things that we have found. Now, how do we know that some of the jobs that we are recommending to you or some of the careers we're recommending to you are actually in demand? We went to the Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum, right, for 2025 to help you discern or determine which jobs are in demand and which jobs will actually pay your bills, like they say, right? And we found that information security analysts are topping the charts. Now, if you are in roles that are on the left side or the right side of my screen, I promise you, yes, you have a job, but it is estimated that within the next 5 years, these jobs are less likely to continue to exist. Barring even the influx of AI and whatnot, these are jobs that are now being automated, that are being done now by robots, machines, and AI. But the jobs that I have on the left side of my screen within my what's it called screenshots are jobs that no amount of AI, no amount of robots or automation can take these roles away. Okay, and like I said, we found that information security analysis or analysts roles are topping the charts. Next, we have Internet of Things specialists, or like I said earlier, security engineers, right? And then we also have security management specialists. And these are all roles in cybersecurity that have been funkified, fancified, but these are roles in cybersecurity that actually speak to everything you're going to be upskilling on in our cybersecurity program. Now, we have talked about the roles that are available in the world that are in demand, especially cybersecurity roles. Let's talk about how we at Analytics are going to help you go from wanting a job to landing the job. All right. Now, let's look at Victoria. Victoria is a fashion stylist, and she is looking to become a tech talent or a tech professional, a cybersecurity professional in the coming months. Now, this is how we come in analytics, okay? First, we provide the skill sets. We teach the skill sets, okay? And like I said, we do this with the blended approach. How do we do this? How do we implement this? Okay, we have what we call the self-paced learning on our learning what's it called management system, that is the LMS. And then we have the live instructor-led classes. And I promise you, both the self-paced and the live work in tandem to give you a blended approach that gives you a complete understanding of cybersecurity. All right. And then we now go further and then we help you to gain project-based experience. Now, I promise you, this is not just me saying this because I want to impress you or not. If you look at my slides here, you realize that I have attached portfolios from our past participants who are excellent, right? Who have done excellently well with their projects that we have assigned to them and who are currently excellent in their different spaces they have found themselves today, right? And next, we also give you employability skills. We'll help you gain employability skills. All right. Like I said earlier, the CV review and revamp, LinkedIn optimization, helping you to navigate the job market, right, by providing you with job listings and helping you prepare for interviews, as well as providing you with a job reference letter and on-the-job support. And then we go further by helping you with networking and mentorship. Like I said earlier, we don't leave anything to chance, right? We don't leave anything to maybe, if not, he might or she might. No, we look at everything and ensure that we have given absolute best in every area to make sure that at the end of the day, you get the job. All right. Now, let's talk quickly here. Now, if I say, for instance, I say, hi, Lucky, I am gifting you a brand new laptop. And these are the specs. It has about 1 terabyte and about 32 gig ROM. And it has maybe it has what's that, the latest screen now that is very bright and it's curved and all of that fancy thing. Yeah. And the laptop is lightweight, but as it was being shipped to you, the motherboard shifted, right? And I tell you, oh, yeah, I know that there's something wrong with the motherboard, or maybe there's something wrong with the placement of the ROM whilst it was in transit. I'd like you to take it to somebody that I know. And I say, oh, I, as well, I know a graduate from Harvard that studied computer engineering, mechanical engineering, and came out as a valedictorian and what have you. And then Latif, my colleague, says, oh, I know somebody that is very good that actually trained in, say I gave you a Dell PC, for instance. I trained with a Dell accredited company, both abroad and in Nigeria, and it currently runs a company with somewhere within your locality, right? Between my graduate from Harvard that I'm offering to you and Latif's very, very experienced, skilled professional that knows the ins and outs of the PC. Please, Lucky, please, Kosi, who would you take your PC to? Who would you take your PC to? I'm asking Rashid, I'm asking everybody right now, right? I'm giving you the option of a graduate from Harvard University, and then Latif is telling you, oh, I know somebody that learned from the owners, thank you, of the PC and all of that. You will go for the skilled one. Because yes, and the person I'm offering you knows the book, knows the details and all of that, but do they actually have the skills to do the job? The answer might not be a yes, right? Thank you, Lucky, for that. Now, like I like to say, it always seems impossible until it's done. And how do I know this, right? I'd like to show you some success stories. Now, because of time, yes, I'm going to be making sure that Latif is, and my colleagues are sending you these resources immediately after this session. But if you look at the top of my screen here, you'd realize that I have somebody that is an alumni who is giving us a testimonial of how he was able to get a job without even finishing the entire program. This is someone that was about a month out of the program, and he was able to use everything that he had gained, everything that he had learned from us, and was able to put that to efficient use and get a job. And it's not the only one. We have many others with so many testimonies, and these testimonies are all included in these resources. I promise you, they are fun to watch, fun to listen to. I believe that it was even showing us some of these testimonials at the beginning of this session, right? And the beauty of these testimonials is to show you that we're not just saying what we can do, we are actually doing what we're actually having proof of what we have told you so far, what I have mentioned to you so far. All right. I have, like I said earlier, I have so many more stories in different programs, in different fields, so many things that actually will show you that when you put your money where your mouth is, you get feedback, you get value, maximum for your money. All right. Now, let's, like I was talking earlier about the skills that would land you a job in 2025. Let us first and foremost look at what you would be learning in cybersecurity within our programs, right? Like I said earlier, Cybersecurity offers a well-rounded, a properly structured program that gives you everything you need to stand on your 2 feet and be a skilled cybersecurity professional, right? Remember we said a cybersecurity professional is that professional, that person who protects the organization's systems and network from cybersecurity threats, or cyber threats rather. Now, we're going to be teaching you a lot in these key learning areas. Remember when I mentioned fundamentals earlier? Yes, we do not play. We're teaching you the introduction to cybersecurity. We're teaching you about networking. We're teaching you about incident detection and response, which is the bulk of your work as a cybersecurity professional. We're teaching you about SOC analysis. We'll start with the basics and then teach you in depth. We'll teach you about threat intelligence. We'll start with the basics and teach you in depth. We'll teach you about the tools, technologies, and the procedures. We'll teach you about penetration testing, as well as governance, risk management, and compliance, that is GRC. And the beauty of this entire program is that you would also learn the different tools that work in that environment. I'm talking about Metasploit, I'm talking about Wireshark, I'm talking Bob Suite, OWASP Zap, you use Kali Linux, you use Wazoo, you use Whois, IP Info, because there are different tools in different aspects of the learning areas they're going to be working with. Now, if you look to the top right of my slide right now, you will see the average earning capacity of a cybersecurity analyst. So in UK, we have the average earning capacity. We have that for Canada, we have that for USA. This is to tell you that the amount of time and money you invest in learning is not going to be wasted, because you definitely get the results when you are on the job. All right. Now, how do our classes hold? Okay, we have Saturday live classes, which holds on in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time for those of us in EU, in the UK, and in Africa. And then we have the evening sessions, which hold from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time, which is 10 a.m. to about 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is for people in North America, as is Canada and the US. And then we have Sunday for the self-paced session, which is what we do with videos. That is videos where you learn from our LMS platform. All right. Now, how long is the class or the learning timeline stipulated to be? We have 6 months in class and then 2 months of internship. Now, bear in mind that whilst you are learning in class, you'd have sessions where you would be able to drop in and ask questions of your facilitator, ask for help, ask for direction, show them what you have worked on, ask them for prompts or what's it called? Like, okay, I have done A, B, C, D, and E. What the other things you think I can do to better my chances or to better myself? And they will give you ideas. They would even show you what to do that would help you boost your learning and your skill development, right? And then you go on to the 2 month internship, where you would actively work with projects that have been gotten from current cybersecurity companies that you would then use to I think we call it boost your portfolio. Yes. So you're telling somebody that, oh, I have worked on a SOC project. I have worked in a SOC. How do you show it with the project? Oh, telling somebody that I have done a penetration testing exercise. How do you prove it with your project? You tell somebody that, oh, I have been able to implement policies for a particular organization. How do you prove this? With the projects, all right? And these are the things that we're going to be offering you in the 2 months internship. Okay. Now, the beauty of this is that you will have the opportunity of working or using both Analytics and Amdari. That is the company where you're going to be doing your internship, right? You're going to be able to list Amdari and Analytics in your CV, because your internship is not going to take place with Analytics, but with Amdari. That means that when you are saying, oh, I was a contract staff for Analytics, you're also able to say, yes, I was also a contract staff for Amdari. That is where the experience part of your CV will now come into play. What that means is that you are able to combine technical skills with employability skills to land your job offer. Now, how do we help you stand out in Analytics? Like I said earlier, your CV, revamp, and review. Now, the beauty of this is that we take who you are currently, who you are becoming, and combine it and give you a very great CV. All right. And then by the time you have optimized your LinkedIn, you're able to show the world that I am this, I am becoming this, and I am able to do this and this by virtue of everything we are teaching you and giving you in Analytics, right? Another thing, like I mentioned earlier, is navigating the job market. Now, bear in mind that looking for a job is a job by itself. Now we take that job from you and we do it ourselves, the Analytics, right? We help you to look for openings. We help you to list them, and then we put them on your classroom so that you are then able to go to that classroom and look at the job openings, that especially the ones that are in your environment or in your country or your neighborhood, and say, oh, I think I like this job. And then you apply for it, and then you are able to come back to us, and then we prepare you for the interviews that you have gotten. And then when we prepare for the interview you have gotten, remember that you have gotten the job, right? And they say, oh, can we get references? And you come back to us, and then we are able to give you references, solid references to say, yes, by virtue of training that this person has taken with us, we can vouch that he or her is able to do this job. Like I said earlier, we also still provide you with on-the-job support. Can you beat that? Another good thing that we provide at Analytics is the weekly mentorship sessions. I don't know if I mentioned earlier that it was weekly, but it is weekly. So imagine that you are having mentorship for 6 straight weeks. You have a mentor, you're having mentors come to teach you or to tell you how to do things better, how to be better within your space. You are having your colleagues that have gone ahead, that are alumni, that are doing great in their field, telling you how their day-to-day life is within the workspace, what to expect. So you're able to imagine, you're able to, like we say, see the light at the end of the tunnel whilst you're still in the tunnel. And the best part is that we also provide Upwork optimization. So if you say, oh, I don't want to do a 9 to 5, I don't want to do a typical remote job, I just want to freelance, we also provide support for that by helping you to optimize your Upwork. And this is part of the package you get when you are within the analytics program. Now, remember earlier I mentioned something about how we help you see the jobs that are posted weekly? Yes, I'm not joking. We actually do this so that you don't have to go to the sites themselves. Some sites you have to pay to get into to see these jobs. We do that for you already. We go there, we do the paying, we get the jobs out, we get to the links, and we post these things on your classrooms. And we encourage you consistently to take advantage of these openings so that by the time you are finishing the entire program, you can actively say, yes, I have gone for this amount of interviews, and yes, I have gotten this job. All right. Another thing that we also have as unique to us is our personalized learning AI assistant, which we call Oluko. Now, Oluko is on your LMS, which is where you can go and ask questions whilst you're learning. Say you're learning a particular concept and you're not really sure what it means, or maybe you are grasping what the facilitator is teaching you on the LMS, but you are not entirely sure if the explanation matches what you want to understand, right? You can go on Oluko and simply ask it to explain it to you in simpler terms, or explain it to you like it would a 5-year-old, or ask it to explain a concept to you in a particular context. And I promise you, Oluko does all of this and more. And like I said earlier, we are accredited. So that means that whether you are in North America, whether you are in UK, whether you're in Europe, whether you are in Africa, there's proof that we actually give you value for your money, and you can present any certificate you get from us in any sphere and to prove to them that yes, you actually learned these things and you're not just what's what I'm looking for. You're not just trying to pretend to be who you are not. All right. Now, what are the next steps that you need to take? You need to join our next cohort. Now, our next cohort starts on May the 10th of 2025. And the beauty of this cohort is that, remember I mentioned earlier about the special discounts that we are offering? I was not playing. For the cybersecurity program, the old fee, or the original fee, rather, not old, it's the original fee, is $900, right? But we are offering a discount for the first 20 people for this program, which is a 20% discount. That means that instead of having to pay $900, you get to pay $750, right? If you look in the charts, you will see that my colleagues are dropping the forms with which you can actually enroll and start your process. Now, I would like to walk us quickly through how easy it is to actually enroll and start our payments. Now, the beauty of our payment plan is that you are allowed and you are able to pay in installments. So it doesn't really get overwhelming. You're saying, oh, $750, that's quite a lot. I'm worried. What if I'm not able to pay the entire $750 at once? We allow for payment in installments. Now, let me quickly take us to our payment platform and walk us through how easy it is to pay for our programs. Very easy, very straightforward. All right. Okay. Now, when you click on here within, yes, when you click on here within our resources, or when you click on the links that are now dropping in the chat box, it will bring you to this page. All right. Please, if you are able to see this payment platform, please let me know. All right. Now, when you get on this payment platform, you are able to then scroll through. It's our enrollment platform that allows you to scroll through. And whilst you're going through it, you see that you are able to chat us to get further clarity, to book a clarity session and say, okay, I want to do cybersecurity, but I'd like to discuss more about some things that I want more information about. You are able to do that here, all right? Just by clicking on the chat with analytics icon. Now, to get the brochure for the programs, you just go ahead and click on the get access to all program brochures icon here. All right. Now, the beauty of paying is you can just go straight, see how our calendar looks like, and click on the program that you want to pay for. In this case, our program is cybersecurity. All right. Now you're going to register for CS. Now, this brings you to the main stack platform that allows you to pay. Now, you can come here on the platform and choose what currency you would like to pay in. Now, if you look here, you see that we have the US, United States dollars, we have different currencies, we have the UAE, we have Ghana. So wherever you are, the platform will pick your location and give you a payment currency in that location's currency. Okay, but if you want to, you can actually change it to match what you prefer. Okay, so if you say, okay, I'm in the US, but I want to pay in pounds, you can simply come here, drop down, and select what currency you want to pay in. You can even search for it. It's that easy. All right. If you want to pay with the Australian dollar, the same thing. If you want to pay in Naira, it's the same thing. You just search for the currency you want to pay in, and it will give you the value in the currency you want to pay in. Now, if you look at my screen, you would see that for the discounts, I currently only have 10 seats available, which means that somebody is already paid for about, some people have already paid for about 20 of the available discounted seats. Now, if you notice on my slides, we have $750 for payment for the program. But because you are taking advantage of the discount, you will notice that on here, it is now showing $700. That means that if you pay once, you get to pay $700 by virtue of the discount that we have added for you. Now, if you want to pay twice, you get to pay $350 in 2 installments. If you want to pay 3 times, you get to pay $250, and so on and so forth. Now, when you want to pay 5 times, that's when you now go back to the $750. That's a 5 monthly payments. Now, let us look at the 5 monthly payments and say we want to secure our seats with this. If you look further, you realize that there is no version of payment that our platform does not take. All right. When I have selected my payment version, it tells me that I am going to be making 5 payments starting from the 23rd, from today, and then my next payment is going to be the 23rd of May 2025. Now, I go ahead and I want to secure my seat, and it shows me a breakdown of what dates my payments are going to be due. This means I don't have to worry about, oh, when next do I pay? Am I not out of date? It automates itself. So once you have agreed to this amount of installments, it has set that structure in place with your card, what's it called, management organization, so that every date that is due, you get debited for the amount. So your next payment in this case is going to be $150 on the 23rd of 2025. of May 2025. Apologies. So that means that you don't have to worry about, oh, I forgot, oh, I'm not sure, or oh, can I reset it, or can I go and set it myself manually? Just so that it sets automatically by itself manually, and then you can proceed. All right, when you proceed, it brings you to this platform where you then see again what you are paying for. Bear in mind, I have a currency fee because I am currently in Nigeria and I'm asking to pay in US dollars. All right, as you can see here, this fee applies to me because I am in a space different from the currency I am choosing to pay in. So say for instance, I'm in North America and I choose USD, I would not be paying the currency switching fee. Do you understand? Now, then you include your name, your email address, your phone number, and then you proceed. And when you are finished paying, you can then upload your receipt. If you come back to the payment platform, you realize there's a place where you can upload your receipts, and there's a form that will allow us to then follow through with you and welcome you into the program. Now, this all of this sounds like, oh yeah, Toby, this is easy. I promise you, it's as easy as I have explained it. It is straightforward, it's straight to the point, and there is no what I'm looking for now. There is no hidden terms and conditions. That's the ones that I've listed. There's no hidden anything. All right. What you see is what you get. That's the best part about our space, our payment platform. Exactly what you see is what you are going to be getting, right? So now that we have looked at the different ways in which vulnerabilities are being found, and we have understood how what I'm looking for now to get in on the action. That is how we are able to pay to get into the program that teaches us so many interesting things about cybersecurity that we are able to then translate into a skill set that we are able to use to make more money and to develop our careers and to advance ourselves. I'd like us to look at more case studies or more success stories rather about people that are thriving because they have come along with us on this journey, right? We have Rita, we have so many people that, okay, go ahead and check my LinkedIn. You would see the different things that I'm able to do there. And I promise you, there's so many people that have stories for days. If we stay on this call, talking about their stories or listening to their stories, we will not be able to finish today. All right. So yes, Anna, you can actually book a clarity call and get another course, right? Or start with another course. But I promise you that if you pay for your spot today, you are able to get the discounts that we have assigned to the first 20 people that book this program. All right. Now, I believe that a number of us will have questions. We have talked so much about cybersecurity, talk about the program, about how we can what's the word now? Get in on the action, how we can be a part of the program, how we can be a part of the success stories. So I believe that with that, we are able to know, okay, yes, we have come this far, but we have questions. So I'd like to take a couple of questions or more about what we have learned so far and what we like clarity on. Do we have any questions, please? Do we have any questions, please? I believe we have questions. Are we being shy to ask the questions? Please don't be shy. Please ask questions. The beauty of asking questions is that we gain clarity, right? We are able to understand what we need to understand to best enjoy this program. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on this session. Thank you for being an amazing part of this session. I believe we have learned so much today. I believe we have enjoyed this session. Please do well to take advantage of the discounts that we are offering you for the cybersecurity program for the month of May. All right. I hope to see you all in class, and I hope you are going to be one of the people that I am going to be walking through the journey of cybersecurity with myself, as well as my fellow facilitators. And I hope you are going to be one of those who are thriving in the cybersecurity field in the next 8 months. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. Thank you for being on this session with me. Thank you for learning and being a part of this journey. I hope we have an amazing time this week rather. Thank you so much, Kosi. Thank you, Lucky. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Rashida. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, everybody that has been in this journey with me. I hope we have a wonderful rest of the week. Take care, everyone, and bye for now. See you all soon enough.